So God is leading me to speak of humility. Humility is a modest or low view of one's importance. Humbleness, right? Humility is knowing that the thoughts and opinions of others are important because they bring experience and knowledge that you may not have. So he wants you to be open to it. Now I'm going to go into a parable that Jesus spoke about to further explain to you why it's important to have humility. So one day Jesus decided to tell a parable in response to those who were convinced of their own righteousness and despised everyone else. Two people went up to the temple area to pray. One was a Pharisee and the other was a tax collector. The Pharisee were members of very influential religious parties. Many times Jesus chastised them for not practicing what they preached to the people. In turn, the Pharisees did not like Jesus very much and was always trying to find a way to make him look bad in the eyes of the people. So now the tax collector were people who worked for the hated Roman Empire. They collected tax money from the people and often cheated them. In turn, tax collectors were considered to be sinners, and the people did not like them and wanted nothing to do with them. Jesus said that the Pharisees took up his position and said a silent prayer. Oh God, I thank you that I am not like the rest of humanity, greedy, dishonest, adulterous, or even like this tax collector. The Pharisees prayed. I fast twice a week and I pay tithes on my whole income. Jesus said that the tax collector prayed to God in a very different way. He stood off at a distance and would not even raise his eyes to heaven. He beat his chest as he began his prayer. Oh God, be merciful to me, a sinner. The tax collector prayed. Jesus looked at the people as he finished his parable. I tell you, the latter went home justified, not the former. But everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and the ones who humble themselves will be exalted. So that's the point. It's like the Pharisees were convinced that they were doing everything right, but they never confirmed or checked with God to know for sure if they were doing everything right. So they gave themselves the righteousness. They, in their own opinion, they was righteous, even though Jesus was telling them that they were not practicing what they preach. So they put themselves on a higher pedestal as God. That's how I take it. Like their opinion was important over God. So when they come to approach the Father in a way where it's like, I did this, I do that, I do this, like just basically boasting about themselves, raising themselves up in a high place and thanking, almost pretty much thanking God that they're not like those people that they're deeming on a lower, pedestal as them, when they don't even know where God stands with them. That's basically how I looked at it. But the tax collector, as you've seen, he came humble. He's like, I know I'm a sinner. And as like, every single one of us is a sinner. So it's no reason for any of us to come to God in a boastful way, because every single one of us has sinned. Even those who have been forgiven of them sins, is still, yes, it's in the past and it's forgiven. You still need to remember that you have sinned. You know what I mean? So you can't look down on other people who are still living in that sin just because they haven't came out of it yet. Because there was people looking at you in that same way when you were living in that sin. So it's important for you guys to stay humble. It's just really to protect you from the embarrassment, because you may look at yourself in a high light and someone else may have a lower opinion of you. And even God may even have a lower opinion of you than what you think of yourself. So you need to be very careful with that. So he is stressing me to speak about humility, because that is a big issue that's going on in this world, and we see it. There's not a lot of people that's humble anymore. There is some, but there's a lot of people online that's very boastful, and they've put themselves on this high pedestal, but by whose standards? So that is just the point that I feel like he was trying to get me to talk to you guys about. As well, I'm going to speak a few more scriptures that I was led to. One of them was just stated in that story, but there was a few others, but I'll say it again just in case you guys didn't catch it. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. We are seeing that right now. A lot of people are being humbled because they've put themselves on a high pedestal. They've put themselves in a high light and have looked down on other people, and now they're being humbled. So it's important to stay humble so that you won't have to be humbled. You understand what I'm saying? So, And the next one is God shows favor to the humble. And the next one is do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. So I hope this helped you guys. This one is a little bit long, but it's a very important message. Thank you for checking out my video, and may God bless you. Hope this helps.